Hello and welcome to Mike Martin Asks. This week I have another very, very special guest for you guys. Now this person is one of the few people who's been very, very, very successful in our industry for a very long time. He has an army of actually real world content writers, which most of us are now thinking we can do it with ChatGPT, but he'll probably explain why we can't. He's done over 650 websites, and he's the only person I know personally that's been able to make real big money in both the gambling, and casino sites. So all different types of gambling casino sites using SEO. So he's not using PPC, he's using SEO. He's ranking the shit out of these things. He really, really knows what he's doing. He's a good friend. We've met in person in the real world, which is unusual in this fucking crazy internet society that we live in nowadays. And he's got some cool shit to share today. So before we go any further, Kasra Dash, tell us who you are, my friend.
Thank you for the intro. That was some intro, to be fair. Like what Mike just mentioned, 650, 670 maybe now, rank and rent websites, gambling affiliate sites, casino websites, you name it, we're most likely in it, or we know someone that is in it and we're helping them with whether it's link building, whether it's scaling out content. We've seen it all. We've tested and trialed everything. So yeah, happy to share everything.
Tell us how you got into it all first. Give us your backstory. How did you land in this amazing career of online marketing, SEO, link building, and everything else that we do?
So it was, funny enough, it was by accident. And I feel like everyone falls into SEO by accident. But basically, a few years back, my brother introduced me to a guy out in the States, and he wanted a website doing, and it was essentially for like business cards. So it was an e-commerce website. And at the time I knew bits of web development, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it for you. Just chuck me a few grand. So I basically finished that website. It took me 4 or 5 months. There was stuff on that website that I was doing that now I'd just hire a VA and be like, right, upload all the products. There was like 400 products. I was doing it manually every night. So times have definitely changed, but essentially what ended up happening is after like a few months, the website got officially launched, and he came back to me like 2-3 weeks later and he said, Kaz, where's the sales? Right. So the website had been built. It was a shiny new website. It's kind of like having a Ferrari, but no engine inside. So you can't really drive it. It's just locked up in your garage. So I was like, I think you need to do something called SEO. He was like, well, I'll pay you like a retainer for it. And that's essentially how it all began. So I was reading Matt Diggity blogs and watching videos on SEO. And at the time, it was way easier than what it is now. All you needed, realistically, was to just change some page titles and meta descriptions. But now, obviously, you need to worry about internal linking, backlinks. You can't just spam a load of links to your website and hope for the best. So yeah, times have definitely changed. But that's how I got my teeth into SEO.
What year was that?
2017 or 18, so not too long ago.
Yeah, not that long ago. So I've been doing SEO longer than you. I thought you'd been doing it longer than I, but you're only young, aren't you? You just look older than me because you've got a beard.
yeah.
I can't grow a proper beard yet. I'm only 43.
Give it a few more years.
Yeah, I might get it. I'll be a pensioner like that when I was due with my fucking beard. I'm like, yes, I did it. So before the SEO world, what was you doing before that? Where did you come from? What did you start out doing?
So I, by trade, like many years ago, I was doing like YouTube videos and gaming and stuff like that. And then from that, then I done like a bit of like video editing, and then I done web design, and then that's essentially how it all went. So after that, like I went to university, and I done. Do you know what? I don't even know what my degree is. Like I don't use it.
So you've got a degree?
So, yeah. So I graduated. So I'm 25 now. Mm-hmm. I graduated uni when I was 19. up in Scotland. Yeah. So I skipped a few years at university because you can in Scotland. If you take a certain route, you can skip like years 1 and you can go straight to year 2, and then you can do year 2 and year 3. And then you don't. I didn't even do like a dissertation and stuff like that. So I skipped year 4, and just got my bachelor's degree. But that's way before I got like me getting into SEO and stuff.
I remember saying to Martin when me and you first met, I went, he's a smart motherfucker, him. And Martin said, how do you know? I said, because he sits there, he says, fuck all, and just listens to everything. And now you've just proved it. You just proved it to me with the
It definitely depends on the time of day. So like I'll have like, for example, like Dooley says this all the time to me. He's like, you're a miserable fucker in the morning. I'm like, what do you mean? He's just like, you just don't talk to people. If people chat to you, you're just dead snappy. It's like, well, you just need to give me a couple hours to defrost. So like early in the morning, I ain't the best person to be around. I'll give him that. But then late in the evening, like past like 7, 8, 9, like I'm just very low level. But any time between that, so like from probably about 11 a.m. till about 5 p.m. That's probably the sweet spot.
And the rest of the time, you're a moody bastard.
Yeah.
So back to the SEO then, right? Let's before we start talking about what you're doing now and what's working and what's making you money. What over the years, what things have you actually done that have failed? Like what walls have you hit where you've been like, I think this is going to work. I think I'm going to take over the world. I love to hear about people's failures because I think that's where you learn. I think that's the stuff where it's like, do you know what? If you know what didn't work, you can kind of figure out how not to play it going forward. Whereas just hearing about what's working, everyone gives you that shiny bullshit, don't they? About, oh, I did this. And then it's like, all right, well, where's all the problems? How did they go wrong?
Yeah. So the amount is like, there's going to be more stuff that I've failed out after I've come off this podcast. I'll be like, oh, I didn't mention that. But I've done drop shipping. That didn't work because of the delays. People place an order today, they don't get their item for 6 weeks because it's flying in from China. Like massive refund issues.
You just reminded me, one of my first, right? And the reason I remember it is because I was going through my my domain names the other day with one of the guys who builds my lead gen sites for me for I won't say the industries, but for like 4 different industries, he builds these lead gen sites for me, and he turns around and he goes to me, "What the fuck is that?" And I was like, "What?" He went, "What is shirt lifters?" Right, right. So years ago, what I did is I fucking I was trying to get into the internet game, and I was doing some other shit, and then I found this place where I could buy fucking sex toys for men, like gay sex toys. So what I did is. And I forgot until about 2 days ago that I'd even had it up as a website and was running and making money on it and all that. And that was a drop shipping business. And it was shirtlifters.co.uk. And I think I had shirtlifters.com, maybe not, maybe I can't remember, but I definitely had .co.uk. And I was calling it that because it was for gay guys, right? And to me, like, okay, they're shirtlifters. And he was like, mate, I started doing loads of real good money with it. But then when anybody asked what I was doing, it was so embarrassing. It was like, you know what? I can't carry on doing this. And it was just basically fucking drop shipping men's sex toys. and then I don't know if men are worse than women or if that industry is just fucking ridiculously busy, but you just reminded me then about it, and I thought, oh my God, that is something that I probably shouldn't share.
And now we are here. You're sharing it.
Yeah.
That's funny that. So yeah, drop shipping, it didn't work. What else? PBN links way back in the day, maybe like when I first started getting into SEO, maybe for like 6 months or something. I've done some PBN links. Very quickly, you realize that if you've got a footprint, it just doesn't work. And yeah, just. I personally wouldn't recommend it. That was like 5 years ago now. So that, then I've done a web design agency. That done all right. What else?
How did you market web design agency?
So just word of mouth. Like at the time, I wasn't that savvy on SEO, so I was like, oh well, if I do websites for like Mike Martin, he might recommend me to his mate, and his mate might recommend me to a few other guys. Now, if I was to do it now, I would probably give the website away for free, right? And people are probably watching this thinking, "What? Why? You're not going to earn any money." But then charge for the hosting, so you're getting something reoccurring every month. That's probably the better model.
Rebuilds is important, isn't it?
Exactly. Who wants to pay? Who wants to pay a one-off £700-800 where you could charge them £20 a month for hosting? There's not really much expense to hosting.
No, well, that's almost the rank and rent model, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You basically build it, you own it, you set it up, and then you charge them a monthly subscription fee for the thing. I mean, we're doing it at the minute. We're setting up an agency, and we're not charging big money up front. But I like to charge money up front because I feel like if you charge a big chunk up front, and then a like £100 a month retainer or something like that, you're then in a situation where if they go to cancel and they say, you know what, I can't afford it this month, I can't afford it. It's like if you come back, it's going to cost you a few grand again to get back in, which is a year's worth of money. You might as well find the £100 and go and cancel something for someone else. Whereas if you don't charge that upfront fee, they can always just say, fuck him, don't pay him for 3 months, and then we'll go back. And so I always like to charge that retainer up front with client work. And we've only just restarted doing client work because I've always stayed away from it because I'm so busy. But I just want to change. I just want to. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah. No,
what was your best conversion with clients then? Which was the best way? Was it always on the phone or what?
So way back when I was terrified to jump on calls. Like you would never see me on a podcast like this. I was proper introvert. But over the years, and I suppose it comes with like experience as well. The more things you do, like whether that's running or whether that's podcasts or whether that's talking on stage, the first time you do it, you're probably going to be shit. But the 100th time you've done it, or the 90th time you've done it, you're going to be like, oh, okay, this, that, bang. Okay, that's a sell. That's a sale there. That's a sale there. I've converted that guy. He's buying links from me. That guy's buying content. It just comes very natural. Like now I do a lot of like backlink strategy calls for Searcheroo and stuff like that. And like 2-3 years ago, I would never have got on a call with anyone because I'm like proper.
Do you know why that is? Right, I just read a book a few weeks back called Ego is the Enemy. And it said something in it that says ego is stolen, okay, confidence is earned. And basically the reason you probably wouldn't have got onto podcasts or done any of that shit years ago is because you're not a faker. So you wouldn't run on ego, you wouldn't run on stolen fucking confidence. Whereas now, because you've done it all and you've been there and you've made all the mistakes and fucked up and you know the answers to all the questions, you kind of like, what can go wrong?
Yeah, definitely. I would probably agree with that because like now there's like everyone knows the SEO game, right? Everyone has their own methodologies of ranking, or they've just read a Neil Patel blog or something. They think they know how to rank, and then now you could put me in a call with anyone, and I am 100% confident that there will be some middle ground where I could be like, right, okay, you're correct in saying that, what you're saying, Mike, there, but have you tested that? No. Okay, well, I have. Let's go with this strategy or whatever. So yeah, you probably are right. I probably didn't have the expertise to jump on calls with people and say, well, have you done this or have you done that? So yeah. Back to the failures. The biggest failure, or well, not failure, but the biggest thing that we learned as a team. So obviously we've got 650 ranking rounds. We have 14 gambling affiliate sites and a few gambling sites as well. So if you could just think of the link expense, right, just for a second, like how much you spend a month on links, let's say £1,000, right? If you times that by 650 and then you times that by gambling affiliate sites and casino sites and all sorts, we ended up spending probably 3 years ago 250,000 US, so what, about 190,000 pound, right? And we had to get rid of all the links. Every single link that we bought in that year, we had to get rid of every single one because they were spammy link.
A month?
No. Just in a 1 year period. So about 20 grand a month, right?
Fuck. Is that because of the most recent update with the Google?
So basically, there was a mix of things. So the guest posts like relevancy at the time wasn't as necessary. Then Google done an update and relevance became more impactful. The links didn't have any tier 2s, tier 3s. So tiered link building as of today, right now, when we're recording this, tiered link building is so important. And nobody's doing it in local. So if you're watching, do tiered links.
We're doing it. It's called single niche PBNs. I talk about them all the time. I've been talking about them for fucking years, and we're still doing it, and it's
honestly,
never failed.
It's like you just look at so many websites, and some of the guys are like really advanced SEOs. Like they know how to scale out content. They've got their own content team, like 14 content writers and like 2 or 3 editors and stuff like that. They just come to us for links, and we're like, well, you've got these 10 grand's worth of guest posts. Why haven't you powered these up with tier 2s? And they're like, oh, I didn't think of that. And it's like, well, you should probably start thinking of that. So yeah, tiered link building is super important. We weren't doing that at the time. Then websites, like a lot of guest post websites became guest post farms. So like a few years ago, people didn't know that they could monetize their websites by selling guest posts on them. Like a lot of PBN sellers and stuff like that now sell guest posts on their website for like £40, £500, whatever else. So the links at the time that we were buying, we thought they were good, but like fast forward 18 months or a year's time, we literally had to disavow all of them. So it was literally like we done the numbers. It was about $242,000 of links that we had to disavow.
If you'd spent that money on just writing content, it'd have been rock solid forever, wouldn't it?
Well, so you say that, right? But there's 2 parts of website recovery, right? So, or well, technically 3 parts. So one part is the off-page SEO, where you're disavowing links that you buy today, but in 2 weeks' time they're actually bad links because Google's done an algorithm update and there's zero value in a load of links. Then the second part is an on-page recovery, and that is so content that was written 4 years ago. 8 times out of 10 won't rank today, mainly because it's not like Google swapped how they read content. So they've went from like page indexing to passage indexing. So if you're asking a particular question, so like how tall is Mike Martin, right?
Yep.
You might have an about Mike Martin page. It's not going to go and read the entire article about Mike Martin. It's going to return that little paragraph saying that you're 6 foot or 5'5", or I don't know how tall you are, but it's swapped over to paragraph indexing or like phrase indexing, if that makes sense. So they've done it from a crawl budget point of view, by the way, because previously they would have had to like index and crawl millions and billions of pages, but now they're like, how do we spend less money on indexing? And that's one way that they've done it.
So literally, I could have. But what if I've got a website then that's just got loads of? Well, no, because then the relevance and the off-page SEO is not going to fit. But so I could just have a page which has got one really well-written paragraph and nothing else on it, and that will rank. As long as it's got the links, the internal links, the
Yeah. So like prime example, right? Obviously everyone's seen the Google snippets, right?
Yeah.
Now, one thing that we say to our content writers is like, write as concise as you can. And I think when we came down, we actually showed you this 2 years ago, right?
Yep, you did,
but basically, back to like, okay, so someone's searching, how much money do I owe HMRC if I've earned £30,000, right?
Yep.
If in the answer, like, so in the P tags, you're saying like, oh, well, it depends on if you're in Scotland or if you're in England, and then blah, 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 blah. That's not what Google wants to see. Google wants to see a figure, right? So if you owe, if you've made £30,000 worth of profits this year, you owe HMRC £7,000 in tax, full stop. However, This also depends on your location and if you're taking any benefits, etc., etc., etc.
So it wants a defined answer first,
Exactly,
and an explanation set, not the explanation before the defined answer.
yeah, exactly that.
I didn't know that. I didn't actually know, because I always tell people to put a range price in as well. So don't always nail yourself down to saying, okay, it's £50 an hour or £75 an hour. Because what I've found is 99.9% of those snippets have always got a range. So how much is a plumber per hour in Manchester? Then you're going to be looking at between £50 and £150 an hour, depending on time and date. But we do tend to put the explanation in afterwards,
Yeah.
without thinking about it.
Yeah. So, like, a lot of the snippets, so, like, how much does double glazing windows cost, right? I would always train my content writers up to say a double glazing window costs from £500, full stop. However, this does depend on the width, the length, if you want brass handles, silver handles, gold handles, etc., etc. And all Google does care about is like how concise your content is. Essentially, you want to answer as much as you can in the least amount of words, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you don't want to fluff your content up. Google doesn't care about fluffed content. Like, wait, so going back to what I was saying before, like, if you go back 5 years ago, right, everyone was talking about keyword density and word length. So if everybody else has 800 words of content on their site and they've got 6% keyword density, that's what you need to follow. So from a content progressive optimization point of view, the content wouldn't have ranked either. Even if we had spent 250 grand on content, we would probably be in just as a bad position as what we were with the link side of stuff.
So, I mean, I've never focused on keyword stuffing and keyword density and all that. I ignored everybody who said it because I had loads of websites, hundreds and hundreds of websites still ranking without all that bullshit. What we used to do was focus on H1 is the main keyword. H2s is the main services that you provide, and we put them on the same page. So if I'm looking at fucking plumber location, because we do a lot of local, then I would have emergency plumber, and then I might have gas thingy, I might have boiler inspection, I might have various things in H2s. And then what we would do is in the subsections of this H2, so let's say you're doing a boiler inspection, each individual element that we talk about regarding the fucking boiler inspection, we'll put into a H3 underneath that fucking H2, and then there'll be another H2, then the H3s, H2s, H3s, and we kind of go like that way. But we've done that without really thinking about it for years and years and years, and ours have always ranked. I mean, I've still got sites that haven't got fucking SSL certificates on them, and they're still ranking on a national basis in fucking hundreds and hundreds of areas, and I don't touch them because I know if I stick a fucking SSL on it or stick it through Cloudflare, do anything to it, it's going to fucking drop. So what I'm doing at the minute is I'm building out hundreds of additional websites, and then we're linking a lot of them together and doing all the shit that we've done for years, waiting for us to start pushing that site up or overtaking that site so that eventually I can then jump on them sites and get them completely rebuilt. Because I know that it's fucking mad, and the old stuff still ranks. I bet you've still got loads of them. Remember the ones you showed me when you came down?
Yeah.
They just rank forever, don't they?
Yeah. So
I'm scared of touching them. I'm like, you're making me loads of money. Keep doing it.
We're in the exact same boat. So, like, if anybody has any websites that are from like 6-7 years ago, 8 years ago, just don't touch them.
Because have you tried it on a few of them where you change it, you update it, you do something, and then all of a sudden it's like, the whole fucking site has dropped. Then you try and put it back to how it was before, and it never comes back. And it's
we always try to do. So we always try to do like as single variable testing as we can. So we, like, for example, we won't go and do a full website redesign and also change the content and also build links. We'll do like one at a time. So we might say, right, okay, let's put a 3-month strategy in place. So month 1 and 2, we'll go back in and update the content, and then we'll leave that for 3 months, and then we'll go and do like a website redesign or build a few links and stuff like that. So yeah, you do need to be careful with sites like that.
That's where a lot of people fuck up, because they get their very they start looking at it like they want it to work quick, they want it to work now, they want it tomorrow. And unfortunately in the SEO industry that doesn't work. I mean, that's why I partner up with Dave Kasra. I don't think you met Dave, But Dave Kasra, who he focuses on the quick gratification, like, okay, spend your money today, use it in PPC and get amazing results in the next few days. But then obviously on the other side of the coin, what you need to be doing is building a long-term business by using SEO, websites and creative content and everything, and not rushing the whole project. And I think that's where the two fit together, because you guys don't do fuck all in ads, do you? But you've got sites ranking, making loads of money, so you don't need to.
No, so we do. Can I say this? I don't know if I've got an NDA on this. Oh, fuck it. I'll say it.
If you don't know, don't say it.
I'll say it. At one point, we had the biggest PPC account in the finance industry.
Seriously?
Yeah. Like, we were spending big amounts, huge amounts. Like,
you guys are into everything, aren't you?
Yeah, so I was on another podcast and they said the exact same thing, the guy, right? And basically, we've went to masterminds and stuff, and people are sometimes like scared to like say, "Oh, I'm in photography," right? And it's like, listen, we are in every single niche that you could possibly think of. There's no niches unless it's like a really sub niche. We're in everything. We're in triple glazing. We're in double glazing. We're in law. We're in personal injury. We're in locksmiths. We're in everything. Solar panels. You name it. We're in it.
What's the driving force behind all that? Is it James?
Yeah. So like,
he's like a fucking. He's an entrepreneur on steroids and on whiz and on fucking coke and on everything you can think about taking. He's just constantly. He's got his hands in everything, hasn't he?
So how I see it is, like, for example, it might cost 10 grand to do a proper rank and rent website, and that rank and rent website could earn you anything from 500 to 5 grand a month.
Yep.
He'd much rather do that, and I would much rather invest my money into that than going and buying a house in, I don't know, in Bolton for 100 grand or 250 and renting that out for 500. So you've got essentially 15 shots to try and make a website work, if that makes sense.
Yep, and you're going to get the same money, and it's still an asset. It still builds, it still grows, it's still worth more. And this is my webinar now that I do is called Get Rich with Digital Real Estate, and it's all about exactly what you just said. And it's like you can go and invest 100 grand into property, and because a lot of people don't understand property investing as well. So what a lot of people do when they're buying properties is if they've got 100 grand to spend, they'll go and spend 100 grand on a property, and then they'll try and rent it out, and then in 3 years it'll go up in value by about 10%. So they've made 10% on the money. Whereas if they split that 100 grand into 10 grand deposits and got 10 90 grand fucking mortgages, they'd have £1 million worth of property that's all going up. So after the 3 years, they'd have doubled the money rather than only making 10%. And they kind of don't get it because everyone's like, "Oh, I don't want to get into debt." And I think that's the difference between rich people and poor people. Is that rich people understand that debt's not, it's not something you want to get into, but if you use debt the right way, you can make a fucking shit ton of money using other people's money.
That's essentially Rich Dad Poor Dad. That
is it.
Yeah. So like, what the rich people essentially do is they'll take out a loan to essentially start up a business, whereas a lot of guys will. And there you go. That's the book there. Have you not read it? Right, okay.
It's been a long time since I've read it. I read like fucking 2 or 3 books a week, don't I? So kind of.
Right, okay. Well, yeah, so the gist of it is like the top 1% or the top 10% will use debt to make more money. So they might take a loan out and throw in 10 rank and rent websites, or they might go and buy a property and rent it out. Whereas the poor people, is what he labels them, is they've got like a very scared mindset where they're like, well, what if all 15 websites don't work? And what if there's an earthquake and the house collapses? It's like you're thinking very negatively, which goes to, like, I don't know if you've heard the saying, like, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Love that saying.
If you're spending time with a lot of negative people where they're like always scaring you and they're not pushing you to be the best person you can be, then
that's in this book.
You've got a book for everything.
Yeah, that's my book, that one. But yeah, it's in that.
it honestly does. Like I have noticed that we're like, I'll spend, I don't know, a week with someone that's like really inspirational, that's absolutely crushing it in business, and you come back and you're like, oh wow, that was great. Like I
Inspired.
got it. I got it when I first met you and Martin and Keith. I was like, whoa, these guys, they're like on another level. And you probably think that about me and James, and you're like, whoa, these guys
Exactly
are
the
on another
same.
level.
Yep.
So it does come
It was
down to like,
James. It was James that got me into this book. Stoicism. I started reading about. That's the one I'm reading at the minute. Again, I'm fucking. But yes, it was. It was you guys. Some of the shit you
yeah.
guys were doing. I was like, oh my god. I think we stayed. We spent a weekend in the house, didn't we?
Yeah. So
Um,
like, yeah,
brilliant.
stoicism's so important. Like, if everyone that's starting off in like the digital money, like the internet money, as people like to call it, right? The first things that they'll do is like, okay, how much is a Rolex? How much is a Lamborghini? How much is a mansion? And by the time, like, they're not happy until they get that mansion, or until they get that Lamborghini, or until they get that Rolex or whatever else. And it's like, it's not about achieving that, it's about the journey and who you're with. So like,
Yep.
I could fly out to Dubai by myself tomorrow, first class flights, and I'd be bored as fuck.
Yep.
I've not got my mates around me. I've not got Mike to fucking tell me about all these mad businesses that he's doing. I've not got any of that. So like, what's the point? So it, like, stoicism's like massive. So like, being able to like be a level of happiness, like when stuff is shit hitting the fan, right? Shit's hitting the fan, and you're like, okay. I mean, it could be worse. I could be in a war zone in Afghanistan, but
Yeah.
I'm not.
I'm
So
like, I don't even think about it. I don't even care. I honestly, like, a lot of people get stressed and get to the point where they're like, oh, it's driving me mad. It's doing this, it's doing it. And I always think, who gives a fucking shit, man? All them families that lived hundreds of thousands of years ago are all
yeah,
dead now. And do you know what? All them people that were massacred in all them cities years ago and all the other, they're all fucking dead. What difference does it make? And I think
yeah,
that that's one of the things that a lot of people nowadays, I think I said it the other week on a podcast where they're like, what do you think about the stress of people nowadays? And I was like, the fucking soft as shit. People nowadays are pussies, whereas years ago, people were brutal. They would
oh yeah,
literally turn up, murder your fucking kids in front of you, rape your fucking wife, burn your fucking house down, and then make you fight in their army. And that was kind of the world. It kind of went a bit. We've gone a little bit off subject, haven't we?
yeah. Have you
We
heard of
always.
the Have you heard of the saying, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times?
Yep, I have.
Yeah.
I'd not heard of it as big as that. I'd heard basically hard times create strong men, good times create weak men was kind of the thing that I'd heard. But yes, I've heard that, and
Right
it's
now,
so true. It's
yeah.
so true, isn't it?
Right now, I believe, now this might piss off a few people, but I believe that there are a lot of weak men, um, and
Yeah.
there's just not much, like, they'll start crying over the slightest things, and it's just like, come on, mate, life could be a lot worse.
Yeah, go back 50 years and think of how much the world's changing in the last 50 years. When I was a kid, I mean, I'm older now. I'm 40 fucking three. But when I was a kid in the 80s, going to school and having a fight was expected. You'd like, oh well, he's a lad, let him fight. And my mum would say that to the teachers. Well, he's a lad. What do you expect? He's going to have fights in school nowadays. I don't even think my son's ever had a fight. Like he does crack me and all that stuff, but I don't think he's ever had a real fight. You know, where they like picking up sticks and whacking each other and like a little gang fights that you used to have back in the day. If that happened now, they'd get the police involved, and it's like the
Yeah.
world's gone soft. But you know what, mate? It'll only happen for so long because look at war always comes from somewhere,
Yeah, definitely.
and we'll be fucked.
Oh
We're all
God,
soft.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some of like the Russian and Chinese soldiers, mate. Some of the drills that they're doing is nuts.
Mate,
Um,
there's something going on at the minute, isn't there? And I know we're getting off subject here, but there's something going on at the minute where Russia are blaming the US for trying to bomb the Kremlin or trying
yeah.
to do something. Mate, they've set that shit up, haven't they, so that they can start a war with America?
Do you know what? I don't know. Like, I've not been following it as such, but there's I personally think that there's stuff that the UK and the US have done that have been out of order, and there's obviously stuff that that Russia's done that have been out of order. Funny enough, right? I was saying this to a few people the other day, and they were like, "This is the weird part about war, right? If the UK go and invade Afghanistan, right, we're going to say essentially like Taliban and ISIS and stuff like that. They're the terrorists, but to them, we're the terrorists, which is really crazy.
And they're tough as shit.
Yeah.
They're tough as shit. They're proper men. Like we're sending over a load of guys that are like, "Oh, I've not done my nails today." And then you got these guys that are living in the outback with machine guns, and they fucking that will that shit's scary, man. But I guess it's only scary because you've got kids. It never used to bother me, and then when I had kids, I was like, ugh.
See, this is also something that Dooley's saying. Like, I've for the past like a year now, I've been on a big gym run. So like, I have not missed a day in the gym for like 5 months now, 4 or 5 months, every single day. I don't
7 days a week.
Yeah, I don't take rest days, right?
Okay.
And the thought, so I say that to people, and they're like, "Why?" So more on that later, but Dooley was like, "You don't understand this," because he's got kids, and he's like, "I can't go to the gym it's 7 days a week or 5 days a week." He's like, I need to obviously try and be a good businessman, but I also want to try and be like the best father and stuff like that, which I get, right? But he's like, you're going to change when you have kids. That's what he's saying to me, and I'm like, I don't think I will, but obviously, yeah, I probably will. I probably will.
Mate, I was the selfish. I was 30 when I met my missus, right? And I was a complete arsehole. I had about 4 or 5 girls on the go. I was pissed all the time. I didn't give a shit if I made enough money to last me a week. I was like, yay, loads of fun. Having like really bad. I was a complete waster. But I was making about 400 quid a day. So because I've always been good at making money, it didn't make a difference. And then kids came along, and all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, now I've got to think about somebody else and something else. And it's like all of a sudden I went from being this idiot to, oh my God, I've got to be a dad. And then as Cameron started to talk and get a little bit older, I was like, shit, now I need to actually make a good impression on him, and he needs to have somebody to look up to, and somebody. So I've kind of been driven into business and everything else that I've done, not because I've wanted to, because I've got a little guy there, and obviously a little girl now as well, but a little guy there who I'm like, I don't want him to grow up being like I was, thinking the way I was normal. But that thing on about the gym, I've got a gym right there, me.
I've seen it. Yeah.
When you came to these offices, I didn't have it set up here. I can't remember where it was then, but now
it was behind you, I think.
Oh, did they have a gym in my office? Oh yeah, I did have a gym in there. But I'd set it up and I'd put my thing in there. Well, I'm upstairs in the main upstairs room now, so I've got a big thing here. That conference table's gone. There's the thing over here. I've got the YouTube thing, and then that room's just a complete gym. So I use that every morning. I come into the office every single morning about 7 o'clock. I do between 3 and 7 miles on the air bike, the Rogue air bike. Yeah. And then, but I stopped doing. I've got a guy downstairs who works for me called Callum, and he does Brazilian jiu-jitsu and all that. And I used to do a lot of that. And I said I've had to stop because every time I get an injury, as I'm getting older now, it's like when I used to hurt my knee, it lasts about a week. But now if I hurt my knee, I'll be limping for 6 months, and it's like I really can't think it. And then I was showing him this thing. I was bench pressing 140 kg it was, and I said, watch it. And we got it on camera, and you see as it's coming down, it's going back up. It comes down, and my elbow goes poof, and you see it pop, and it's like fuck. And I had to lift it back up onto the bar because I was doing it without anyone spotting me. And I had to lift it back up, and you could see my arm going like that, and it's like, and then I kind of realized all of a sudden it was like, I'm not going to lift anything anymore that I can't do sets of 20 with. And that's I've not done, and I'm starting to feel loads better because I think it's that ego thing we were talking about before. I think once you can lift a heavy weight, you're like, I'm the guy that can bench 150 kg. And so you go into the gym and there's all these young lads there and all that who look ripped up, and I'm like a bit of a fat cunt, and I'm like, yeah, watch this, and it's kind of is that ego, and it's kind of and nowadays I'm like, nah, I'm gonna throw 50 kg on the bar and do sets of 20 and think fuck it, and not get any more injuries because you're injured for 3-6 months nowadays. That heavy weight's not a good idea when you get older.
Yeah. I recently done a personal best 34 kg dumbbells.
Okay.
You're probably like, that's my warm-up weight, mate. But
no, it's not anymore. Not anymore. I don't lift above 20, 25 kg dumbbells now. I think I think it goes up to 35 in there. The ones at the
Right.
gym went up to 46, and I used to love lifting them at the gym because I could show off because nobody else could even get them off the. Well, they could get them off the racks, but it's like that's 90 kilos. So what is it? 200. Wait, no, it's not. It's about 200 pounds.
No, it's about 200
But it
pounds.
was 46 kilo dumbbells. That's what they went up to, and I used to be able to do sets with them. So I'd be able to sit down, and I'd only do sets of 6, and I'd usually do it on the incline on the bench. And then you'd see the young lads who were on the steroids coming up like, come up, and you could see them think, "Fuck that, I'm not even going to try." But yeah, you have to get out of that ego thing because
Yeah, definitely.
as you get older, you start to get injured. I think James is similar age to me, innit? He's a bit younger than me, but it'll start with him soon as well. He does a lot of football, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he's about 38, 39. I'm not entirely sure his age. He always says he's 23 to people.
Yeah,
literally every time.
You know he's a liar, but yeah. No, he looks my age then.
Yeah. Had a tough paper round. That's it.
Yeah. He'll kill me next time he sees me. So let's go back to the business podcast because we went on like a crazy rant and a crazy thing there. So we were talking about the things that don't work. We kind of got a little bit of the way through that. What are you doing now? What's working? What's not working? What type of things are you doing for ranking websites? Or what's best bang for buck? What you're making the most money doing at the minute that's working even after all the updates with Google and shit?
When a lot of people like talk about link building and stuff like that, and they just think like, oh, I'll just go and buy $1,000 or £1,000 worth of links, and it's not actually the case. So this is actually something that I've very recently figured out, right? So like link building isn't just a one size fits all. There's guys that come to me and they're like, I've got like, they could have 2 identical websites, but one website might not have as many links or it might not have as much content. And the link building strategy is completely different. So like what you were saying before is, I reckon a lot of your guys would build like a /services page, and they might list like 6 or 7 different services on that. Right?
I tell them all to put it on the actual page. So I'll tell you how we build it, and let me know if you think it's right. So what I tell them to do is, so for example, let's say you're building an electricians for Manchester.
Yeah.
What I'll tell my guys to do is do long content. So the usual strategy B is, first of all, you'll go in and you'll find out what the main keywords are from ChatGPT now. So you'll put in and ask for a list of the main keywords or the main services listed, searched for by for an electrician. And then what we do, so it'd be electrician Manchester, and then you'll pull out the 5 key services. And what we tend to do is put those 5 key services on the homepage, and then you elaborate on all those 5 key services. That's actually on the homepage, but you keep it as local content. Then straight after that, you do a pricing section further down the page, and then you do a questions always asked section at the bottom of the page. And if you want to do stupid shit like adding images and putting maps and all that, you can, but it's not necessarily that relevant. It really is as simple as that. And then what we do is an almost identical copy of that goes on every single local page all the way around. And what we found is you don't actually need all the other pages that everybody else is saying you need. You can still, even now, you can still do one homepage, and then you can use Magic Page plugin to create a radius and build all the other pages. And a lot of people say, oh, well, you'll get done for duplicate content, and they don't understand that duplicate content's nicking it from third-party sites. If you've got an electrician that's based in this place here, and he drives to this location over here and this location over here, he's the same electrician, so he's going to offer the exact same fucking services. The only thing that needs to change, logically, is location, geolocation data, longitude, latitude data, and all the bullshit like that, which we do automatically in the back end. So the content doesn't need to change. Actually, the content changing, spinning the content, is stupid, because Google's going to look and say, if it's got half a brain, which it fucking has, it's going to say, this is an electrician who lives in Manchester. But if he drives to Oldham, he does the services totally differently than if he drives to Rochdale. Because what? What's the reason? Well, it's because he's trying to fucking scam us.
Yeah. So there's a few things that we do. So a lot of the local guys that jump on calls with me, I will recommend them to build a /services page. And the reason behind that, and it's not from a crawlability point of view, or well, it technically is, more on that in a little bit, but it's more from a link building point of view. So if you have /services, you can essentially get link insertions. Link insertions typically hold more power because they're already on a pre-existing page that Google's already crawled. It has a little bit more power than just a fresh guest post. So I typically say to guys like, right, okay, your /services page, go and build 10 links to that, or 5 links, or however many links I feel the website needs. And then also, same with the /blog. So I don't know if any of your guys are doing any blog roles or anything like
We
that.
do for like to build up the topical relevance and stuff like that, specific pages and bigger
So
cities and things.
a lot of the SEO agency owners, right, will jump on calls with me, and like typically an SEO agency, right, will sign up a client for, let's say, $2,000 a month or $1,000 a month, and part of it will be like 2 blogs or 3 blogs a month uploaded to the website, and a few links or a few on-page fixes or internal linking and stuff like that. Well, guess what? All the pages that they add on to the website will either be a service or a blog, right? So if you've got your /services page powered up with link juice feeding down to all 6 or 7 of your services, guess what? Those services are also going to pop because of the link power. But then same goes with a blog. So like if you're uploading, let's say, an article to do with why you should is solar panels energy efficient, right? That's a very relevant blog to have on your solar panel lead generation site. That's going to go into the blog, and if you've got let's say 20 links to the /blog page, all of your blogs that you upload, it could be tomorrow, it could be in a year's time, they're going to get some link equity from the /blog page. So that's what we do when it comes to link inserts. But then when it comes to guest posts, so guest posts, the content's actually talking about the keyword that you're trying to rank for. Whereas link inserts, it's loosely relevant. So if you're a solar panel website, you might get a link from home renovations and stuff like that. Whereas a guest post, the content's like proper laser focus, so it'll have NLP data within the article. So if you're trying to rank for, I don't know, solar panel company installer in Manchester, the content's going to be talking about that on the guest post website. So that's what we typically do with the links. So the inner pages get the actual guest posts. The hub pages that hold all the links or all the services, they get the link inserts. And then with the guest posts and also with the link inserts as well, we also do tiered link building. So making sure your guest posts have links, and then your links have links, and then it's going up to your money site. And then one thing from an on-page SEO point of view, and this is completely freebie, right? And you can do this within Magic Page because that's what all of our ranking rents have.
Do you guys still use Magic Page?
Yeah.
All right,
So we've got 650 ranking rents with Magic Page, and we have probably about 450 on a different platform. That's a custom platform. It's pretty old.
I've seen your platform. It's fucking good. I remember wanting your template.
Yeah. That's actually been updated since then, so we've got a more up to date version of that. But again, that's not on WordPress or anything like that. And that's we only internally use that. Like we don't sell it to anyone. So if anyone's watching this and they feel like they need to contact me, don't just use Magic Page because it does the job. Trust me. You're probably just going to be sucking eggs, swapping over different plugins and stuff. But yeah, from an on-page SEO point of view, the best thing about Magic Page, and I wish our sites could do this. This is the one pro that Magic Page has, right? So let's say, for example, you have a page that randomly pops, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a lot of pages that pop. So let's say you have a page for plumbers in Manchester. And you realize that one page across all your website, across all 200 locations or 150 locations, that one page is starting to do quite well. Obviously, you're not in a money making spot, but you're like, okay, there's some potential. You're position 10. What we do is we go into Google Search Console, we add that URL in, so it's only showing impressions and clicks for that one page. And what we end up doing is so plumbers Manchester, there might be another variation. So like plumbers in Manchester that fix boilers, right? That might be like a slightly longer version. What we do is we'll copy that and then do Control F on the actual page and see if that phrase is on the actual page. This is what we call progressive optimization. If it's not, we add that to the page, and guess what? Because that keyword wasn't on the page, you were getting impressions for it. Google thinks the content's talking about it. Now that it's been added onto the page, Google knows for a fact, okay, these guys do fix radiators or boilers or whatever else.
So you're doing this for all your long tail keywords?
Yeah.
And that'll filter down to all your other pages on Magic Page, won't it? Because it's dynamic.
Yeah. So in some cases, what we'll do is we'll remove it from the dynamic pages and we'll have it as a single page. So we're only editing that one page. Yep. But yes, you are right. So you could add it to all 200 pages. So all you would need to do then is swap out the Manchester for the locations short code, and then that's it. Bang. It's added on to 300 pages. And then not only that, it's not your Manchester page that's only getting the boost. It's all your other pages like your Oldham, your Stockport, etc., etc.
Yep. Yeah, love it. So, and you do something similar with the Search Console with the internal linking, don't you? But we don't need to talk about that unless you want to.
Yes. Yeah. So what Mike's thought, it wasn't on your podcast. That was on the webinar, wasn't it? That I told that one.
No, you actually have told me in the past about it, because when you first told me about it, I was like, "Oh, mate, that's fucking brilliant!" And I remember talking to you about it. I can't remember where it was that we spoke about it. It might have been.
Oh, it might have been SEO Underground.
No, I think it was Elite Level Masterclass for my.
That's the one, yeah.
My high level guys who pay me every single year to be inside of there. I think you did it. You did talk about it in that. But go on then, tell us if you're going to tell us. You might as well tell us.
No, everyone needs to join your Elite Level Masterclass. No one's getting this one as a freebie. No. So basically, what Mike's talking about is let's say again, going back to the plumbers Manchester example. What you want to do is go into Google Search Console, see what the queries are, and essentially pick out a query that you think, oh, okay, that's classed as a secondary keyword that gets 1,500 searches per month. Then what you want to do is use that anchor as an internal link from another page. So if, say, for example, your primary keywords plumbers in Manchester, but your secondary keywords is emergency plumbers in Manchester, you want to internal link that as the anchor from another page. And not only that, is if all you guys probably are doing link building, none of you guys are white hat, use that anchor as anchors for your backlinks as well. So if you're doing guest posts, if you're doing link insertions, niche edits, whatever else, use that as an anchor, and you will very, very, very quickly rank for all your secondary keywords.
Well, when you told me about that, what we started doing was so let's like say a page pops for Oldham, Rochdale, something like that. We'll go in and we'll chuck it into Google Search Console. We'll stick it somewhere and figure out exactly what keywords are ranking, what keywords it's ranking for. We'll pull down all of those keywords. Then what we'll do is we'll say, right, as a blog page for every single one of those keywords, based around every single one of those keywords for this website. And then what we'll do is we'll put the blog page, we'll set the blogs to be published every, say, 4 weeks on the page, on the website. And then what we do is we insert the keyword into each individual blog. So there's like 1,000 words of content written based around that one long tail keyword, pointing to that one specific page. And then 4 weeks later, it'll get another one, and 4 weeks later, it'll get another one, and 4 weeks later. So what ends up happening, if you've got 12 or 24 keywords, you end up getting a year or 2 years worth of like on-page SEO, internal linking, ranking that specific page. And then what we'll do on the same website is we'll do that for each individual page. So as the big major cities start to pop, and we'll go in, and we got this completely off you. Right. And then we go in, we pull down all the long tail keywords, and then we create the blog post, and we set the blog post to go live. But we do it every 4 weeks, and we do it purposely like that, because then what happens is you're not saying post every single fucking day for 2 weeks or post it. We do it once a month, and we just do play the long game. And then what we'll do is as the site starts to rank and get higher, we'll do the same for the next one, same for the next one, same for the next one, same for the next one. And eventually what you have is a post going live every single day, but it's going live with a load of content on a specific long tail keyword for a specific MPP page that's ranking for that specific keyword. And what happens, it starts to push the whole site up, and then the city short codes kind of just shares it about and just turns it into a beast. But we got that off you. That's kind of our long term strategy now for ranking these websites with internal linking is kind of dynamically put together off the back of what you taught me.
Right.
And it's like, when you said it to me, I was like, fucking hell, man, I've been missing that for years. Like complete years, because it does, as soon as you put the link on for the thing and it gets indexed, it pushes the page up. And then the next month, another one will come out, that'll get indexed, and it's like pushes the page up, and it's all of a sudden, it's like, and it really does work, doesn't it? It's like getting links, external links. But it's free, and whoever's watched this video to the end, that little bit there was worth every single minute that you spent on here, because even us talking about war and stoicism and fucking all the other crazy shit, that bit will make
the knowledge bombs are always at the end.
Make you a millionaire. That it will. I don't give a shit what you're doing or how you're doing it or where you go. I mean, I'm starting a new monthly mastermind with a guy called Ed. I think we'll be sorting that to go live in the next few months, and that'll be one of the things that we teach the guys a little bit further in. But I guess the big thing that I find everybody struggles with what we do is the consistency. The boring, horrible, shitty jobs that you don't like doing are the keys to. I've always said it for years and years and years. Just build. If you've been building for 6 months and you've been building a site every single day for 6 months, then you've got 100 and odd websites there. And even if hardly any of them are ranking, they've been indexed. They've sat there. I mean, Craig Campbell was saying at SEO Underground, I remember him saying, what I do is I buy a domain, I put a shitty site on it, and I don't touch it for 6 months. Yeah. That was what he said when somebody asked him about. So I can't remember what it was, but when he said it, I thought, oh my fucking God, everybody's doing the same thing. They're just not talking about it unless you go to events like that. And they're all saying, you can rank it in 3 weeks, you can rank it in a month, you can do this, and you can't. Not in the real world, not long term.
Yeah, it's definitely not the case. That like there's a lot of I won't say who, but there's a couple communities out there, right, where they will promise you like the world, and they'll be like, oh yeah, you can rank the website in a month and it's going to pop and you're going to start earning millions. It's just not long. Yeah, it's just...
Go on, tell us who. Are you going to tell us?
No, I can't. I definitely can't.
Like trying to cause trouble.
It'll be blasted all over social media.
It'll get us a lot of views on the video.
Yeah, it would. It definitely would.
No, I know what you're talking about, mate. I've seen it with a lot of these guys, and I've seen a lot of people saying, yeah, you can. Don't get me wrong. You can have a website ranking for long tail keywords in 4 to 6 weeks. But when you're talking money keywords and shit, it's 6 months. It's even longer, 12 months. But then they're going to stay there. If you do it right, they're going to stay there.
How I see it now is after essentially setting 250 grand on fire, right? How I see it now is I would rather play the slow game of building a website out correctly and not cutting any corners and doing everything by the book. Okay, maybe not by the book of the Google book, right? I'm not completely white hat, but if you do everything right, you then actually have a sellable asset. Now, there's a lot of people that try and sell their websites and they've got a load of PBNs, or they've done some dodgy black hat link building method, and nobody wants to buy something like that. Now, I don't know about you, Mike, but a lot of the gambling affiliate sites that me and the team build out, we essentially try to future-proof it. So, say, for example, John over there goes and buys one of the websites for 5 million. He's not going to get stumped after 2 months and say, I just bought a site off Kaz and it tanked the next day. What was the point in that? Because you're going to
you've already paid tax on the 5 million and he wants his money back, and you're like, not happening.
Exactly that. So, essentially what I'm trying to say is you want to try and future-proof everything. The worst thing that could ever happen to a rank and rent website is you're earning consistently 2-3 grand a month. You decide to quit your full-time job and then bang, it tanks. That's the worst thing that could possibly happen. So by all means, do not cut any corners, do link building correctly. And yeah, just do everything to a high enough standard where Google's like, okay, this guy is a bona fide website for solar panels or for whatever else. We're going to give him some.
I remember doing years and years and years ago. This probably 2011. So you weren't even doing SEO back then. You were probably still doing YouTube videos. Was YouTube about YouTube's 96, 97, wasn't it? Probably about 2010, 2011. And what I figured out is Google did this fucking special deal where if you registered your mobile number, you could have a free website in Google. So all you had to do was pay for... No, it was a free domain name, not just a free website. It was a free domain. And then you could stick it onto these Google sites that would rank like crazy. And you could kind of build... They were almost like WordPress. So I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. So I went straight to the shop, bought loads of pay-as-you-go mobile phone SIM cards, right? And I built loads of these sites. 19 of them I had built by hand myself. All of them just kept building. And I was ranking in Leeds, I was ranking in Manchester, I was ranking in Oldham, Rochdale, and I was at the top of all the areas. And mate, literally overnight, they just took me out. They just literally shut all my sites, every single one of them. They must have. I don't know why, but it was like, and ever since then, like people have always said to me, go get Google business profiles and all that. Unless it's a genuine business and I'm running a real company that can verify all the shit, I don't waste any time on Google own thing. And I know that they can always de-index me websites, but I still don't. I don't do any of that shit anymore because that I mean, if you talk about, I'm not one of them people who get stressed out. I was like, fuck it, I'll figure it out, and that's what taught me to learn about ads and do various other things that give me like multiple layers to my business. But it was one of them times where if I hadn't have had pretty thick skin, I'd have probably jumped off a bridge onto the motorway or something stupid like that. Because literally, it was like I'm flying and then I'm not flying anymore. All of a sudden, I'm screwed. But the challenge, and I was saying this to Martin the other week. I was saying to Martin, would you like to lose it all? And we were having a conversation. And I was like, I think I would. He's like, what are you on about? I was like, I honestly miss the chase. I miss I like that point where it's like, shit, we've got to do this and we've got to do this. And you know that, and for the last few years, we've been financially stable, completely stable, not had to worry about money, not had to worry about all that shit. Literally, if we went out of business now, we could last for years and years and years without a problem. And I'm like, I don't like being in that situation. I like being on the edge of my seat. I like having to chase. I like the challenge and the thing. And it's like, if this doesn't work, we're sleeping at a hostel type of situation. And I miss it. I actually miss it. And I was saying it to him, and I don't think he agreed with me, but I think he gets where I'm not. I don't enjoy being successful. I enjoy the chase. I enjoy the challenge. Am I weird, or is everybody like that?
No. So weirdly, I was thinking about this before I came on the podcast. I was like, what would happen if I was to lose everything tomorrow? Like everything.
You'd be free, wouldn't you?
I would. So I'd be free. I'd probably have like maybe a month. No, I probably wouldn't do a month holiday. I'd probably do like maybe 4-day holiday and then back to the grind. And that, I think, to be honest with you, I think that's just how we're wired. I don't think there's anything weird about it. I would personally say it's weird to be sad that you've lost everything because you're back to zero, but you know what's required to get back to where you were. So it's like, okay, right, I know I need to train. I know I need to hire these 5 staff, train them up on writing content, ChatGPT, and building links. I know I need to hire a web developer to build me websites.
You've got no money to do that shit, so you have to do it all yourself. That's the cool bit about it. It's like, I'm fucked. I'm sat in a room. As long as I've got a laptop, I know I can still. I mean, I say this in my webinar: knowledge plus process plus implementation equals success. And then I talk about explaining to people about if you've got the knowledge and you've got the process, but you don't do fuck all, then you're still going to be skint. It's still the same. You're still sat there with nothing. Whereas, but I was talking to Martin saying, imagine if we lost everything. It's like, I think I want to.
What did Martin say?
Martin kind of humours me. He knows I'm a bit weird. But I don't think I don't think he'd enjoy it as much as me. But I'm also in a situation where I've got to continue keep it going and all the rest because we've got hundreds, if not thousands, of businesses that rely on us to stay afloat. So we can't go out of business. But from a personal perspective, I think the things you own end up owning you. My mum used to say it when I was younger, right? Because we never had anything. And my mum always used to say, the things you own, you don't want things, Mike, because the things you own end up owning you. And it never made any sense to me till I got older. And like, I see people that care about like cars, they've got flash cars and they've got big houses. And I could have all that if I wanted. But I don't want it because it ends up owning you. And I don't value anything that's not my missus and my kids. I don't feel the value of it because I don't know what it is. And I think it was my upbringing. But I remember she said it when I was younger, growing up, and I've always been like not understood it. And as I've started to get older and we've started to become successful and I've started to own a lot of things, I'm like, it makes sense. It does, unless you can switch your head off and say to yourself, none of it matters.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the interview with Israel Adesanya? I think he was on Joe Rogan, but basically he had just won the title in his division at the time, or he had won a big fight. I believe that. No, the first time, right?
Whitaker was it that he took it off?
I think so. And basically, like, I don't know if. Do you know much about UFC? It seems like you do,
week.
Right. So the UFC fighters don't get paid that much unless you're like within the top like 3. You don't get paid that much. And he was like, I just won the title at the time, and he had bought a McLaren like 765 LT or something like that. It's like 250 grand or 150 grand car. And it was like the next day after the fight and stuff like that, I went into my gym with my brand spanking new car. And then he said it was the most depressing day of his life. He's like, I should be happy. I've just won the title. I've just bought the dream car that I've had. And he's like, no. It's like that day, like somebody like dinged his car door or something like that. And he was like, I was absolutely fuming. He was like, a week ago when I had like the little shitty Ford Mondeo or whatever, I didn't care if someone dinged my car. But now it's like, I really care. I need to go and park 7 miles down the road where there's free parking bays and no one's going to park next to me. And it's just like, yeah, that does make sense.
You can imagine as well, right? As soon as he bought the McLaren, it don't matter that he's the middleweight champion of the world. Every time he speaks to it, he pulls up in his McLaren and everyone's like, you've got a little dick. Because that's kind of what happens, isn't it? It's like you get so it's so true. But no, that's kind of, it scares me that the things you own and upon in you. And we kind of, I've got a lot of investments and things that I do, but realistically, I always say to Martin as well that literally if I lost everything, and the investments, some of them are really risky investments. And there's hundreds of thousands involved in them, and if the crash tomorrow, I wouldn't give a shit. I don't think I'd care as long as I can get. I mean, I have to keep all the software and everything up and running and going for the customers. But as far as personal wealth, I'm at the stage in life now where I'm like, I want that drive, I want that push, I want something to give me that kick up the arse again, and I miss it. I miss that, but I don't think I'll ever get it back because you get to a stage in life where all the things you do end up making loads of money because you've learned from all your mistakes. That you every time you jump on a new thing, like you and James, the shit that you guys have got going is ridiculously good. I can imagine at the beginning you was failing, and then all of a sudden it's like now 8 out of every 10 projects makes a profit, whereas previously 9 out of every 10 projects lost shitloads of money, and then you get one that claws them all back, and it's like we broke even. Now we've got 9 more failures in us, so let's keep going.
Me and James have this inside joke, right? And I don't think anyone knows until I say this now, but we used to attend loads of masterminds, right? And we were just shit at SEO. Like we were okay. We weren't that good. But now, after all the masterminds and after all the conferences we go to, we'll jump back in the car together and we'll look at each other and we'll be like, we're actually pretty good SEOs. And then we just start laughing. So yeah, like I remember like way back when we would go to masterminds and it was just, it was actually ridiculous because like, we'd be like, oh, so what'd you do here and what'd you do there? Like asking loads of questions. And I'm not saying like asking loads of questions is a bad thing, but we thought we were good SEOs at the time, but we just like now, comparing ourselves now to what we were 4 years ago, like we're just a joke.
Multiple industries as well, that kind of makes you better. If you targeting one industry, like when I did the locksmithing, I didn't know anywhere near what I do now until I'd started to say, right, now we're going to do it in this industry, now we're going to do it in this industry, now we're going to do it in this industry. And there's different strategies towards different industries because certain industries want emergency services call out, certain industries want form fills, certain industries want to book a call with somebody to sit down and have a chat and things like that. And there's a different way of writing the content to get it to rank for that particular type of service. So I think, and you guys with you doing everything, like literally everything. I think they even sell the they do something for the royal family.
So one thing that we kept saying, right, and like the hardest thing about anything in business is as soon as you've got staff, trying to keep the staff motivated, right?
Yep.
Now, there was a saying that's just literally come to my mind now, and Dooley always said this to me, and at the time I was just like, "Oh, mate, come on, this ain't working. This SEO malarkey is not working, right?" He's like, he said, if we figure it out on the hardest niches, we will be sat on gold. And I'm not joking to you. Like, if you can take like the 1% of the CBD guys, the 2% of the gambling guys, and then like looking at slot websites, porn sites, all these websites that are really difficult to rank in, and if you can apply that to like a little local website in Manchester trying to rank for solar panel installers in Trafford and Manchester and stuff like that, you're going to absolutely annihilate them. That's why like I scream and preach about tiered link building, because all the guys that are in pharma, selling steroids, that are in porn, that are in CBD, gambling, all these guys are doing like the 1% SEO stuff. So if you can apply what they're doing to your little local website, you're going to absolutely decimate them.
But it's not even needed. That's why we use Magic Page. If I wanted to rank number one for the industry in Manchester, it's a lot more difficult than me trying to rank number one for 60% of the local areas in Manchester without doing any of the difficult stuff. And then I can build 10 sites in the time somebody can build one, getting 10 times as much traffic. And these sites are going to stick and rank long term, because every business goes to a normal website company or an SEO company, and they'll say, right, where are you based? Okay, I'm based in Oldham. Right, well, there's hardly any search in Oldham, so let's rank you for Manchester, and you'll just have to travel to go and do work in Manchester because it's way more valuable. So then they're going against all the other 150 companies like them in Manchester, whereas I'm like, well, you know what? We got 50 searches here, 50 there. Let's rank for all them and have no competition and just win. Mm-hmm. And that's still working now. I mean, it's not going to work forever, but I think there's still another good 10, 15 years in that strategy before, because there's so much search and local. It's something like 1.6 billion, right? There's 3 billion searches a day. That last time I looked at this data, 49%, I think it said it was 1.6 billion searches a day. He's got local intent. 1.6 billion. There's 7 billion people on the planet, so literally there's enough for a lead for every person on the planet every week.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
50% of all local searches land on one of our websites.
Definitely in the UK for me. And we're doing a lot in the States now as well, which is good. But I try to avoid, because I own Magic Page, I get to see a lot of the industries that a lot of people going after, and I try and avoid the industries that everybody else is going after, because I don't want to start putting my clients out of business.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that I've kind of got this moral dilemma. Like, I look at something and I think, wow, okay, like we've got 300 clients all going after this one niche. Why? Well, because it makes shitloads of money. But can I go after it? No, because otherwise I'd be a cunt.
Yeah.
So I have to not. Right, Kasra, I've kept you longer than I said I would. I know we've been chatting for ages. Nate, thank you very much for coming on. If people do want to get in touch with you, where did they go? How did they get hold of you? We'll put the link at the bottom of the video so people can contact you if you just want to let them know how and what it is that you're actually doing now for clients and people.
So for any link building or content related issues or queries, go to searcheroo.com. We're actually doing free consultation calls on there. If you want a conversation with myself, Twitter or Facebook is probably the best place to find me. My Twitter is Kasra_dash. Or even if you just search
Kasra Dash.
No, I couldn't. Do you know who owns that? I'm pretty sure a Kim Kardashian fan owns that last time I checked. Don't know how, don't know why.
What? Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted. Go on, what else? How did you get older on? You said Twitter, what was your one?
Twitter and Facebook are the two main places I'm most active on. You'll probably see a lot of my case studies and stuff like that on Facebook.
I've not been on Facebook for a few years now. I
Yeah.
deleted it a long time ago. I've not done any social media in a long time. I feel like I'm invisible now again, which is good. You don't get dragged into all that bullshit politics and all the fucking, oh, he said this about him and this and that. And it's fuck off.
I never, whenever I want to try and contact you or Martin, I don't know where to message you. Like, I don't know if it's WhatsApp, Facebook. I think WhatsApp. Right, okay. Right.
Yeah, text me on WhatsApp because the only that's what I always say to Lorna because when I deleted all my Facebook and all my other stuff, it was like, well, everyone who's allowed to or who's supposed to contact me has my fucking phone number. Everyone else, and they text me on WhatsApp, and then Skype as well. But not a lot as much anymore. It's kind of it's WhatsApp. But again, it's like that's one of them things, isn't it? Is slowly moving away from phones. I've been trying to get rid of my phone for ages, and it's like I can't do it. It keeps getting every time you get them 2-factor verifications, or you get that thing where you have to authenticate your app, and it's like I've left my phone at home because I'm trying to get away from it, and then I need to go into an authenticator app for this, and it's like it freezes the whole day. So they've got us fucking locked right in. Anyway, mate, I thank you very much for coming on. It's been absolutely brilliant speaking to you. I've kept you a little bit more than an hour, but not too much. But it's been awesome talking to you, and I look forward to when we catch up again, pal. So I'll just say thank you very much. Cheers, everybody. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.